back, folks, to the 11 o'clock Waffle. I'm Mac Forsyth, and you join me on a flashback special, this being the penultimate show before the series finale next week. All three of our guests still stand a chance of getting there, and some guests listening in at home will be doing so in anticipation of results going their way. But who are they, and what do they need? Let's meet the great contenders. First up, the guest with everything to play for. Only a strong win today will do for this man. Motivating him this week is the thought that his fellow founder of the tobacco tea company, Lucy Ahmed, has already made it to the final. Welcome, Christopher Cutting.
Hello, welcome, no autographs please.
That has got to be the most enthusiastic introduction ever, I think, on this show.
Well, you know, I'm out to win big, as always, so yeah. Big intro, big wins.
Big win. Next, making her second appearance of the season and hoping to go 2 for 2, a win will be enough to put her through to the final. Anything else and it will come down to the dreaded average point scoring system. Please say hello to Emma Preuss.
Hello, back again.
Excellent. It's a bit Bristol-centric so far this week. Two of you from Bristol.
Bristol's the best city.
Is it raining? Because whenever I went to Bristol, it always rained.
No, it's been really nice. It's
Nice
weather today.
Fantastic. Are you looking to make it to the final for the second year in a row then, Emma?
I'd like to, yeah. Got to try and get on with the missus.
And finally, our third guest is an angel. At 8 PM this evening, Chris, Emma and I were ready to postpone the show as Natalie Fowler's Skype wouldn't let her log on. And then this angel of mercy called. The latest ever last-minute guest to the show arrives on the show in a similar boat to Chris. A strong win, and that place in the final could be hers. Please welcome back our saviour, Natasha Wigmore.
Woo! Hello! Thanks for having me.
It's okay, thank you so much for coming on at like super last minute after you've done your shopping.
Oh, you're so very welcome. I cancelled all of my plans. I was going to be flying away and doing lovely things, but I thought, no, do you know what? I'll just stay in, I'll have a glass of wine, and I'll just chat to some people and try and win big.
Win big?
Definitely. Yeah.
Is that going to be our hashtag of the week, win big?
Hashtag win big, yeah.
the million pound roller coaster.
I think that's our most normal one after hashtag ramming speed.
Oh God.
Okay, so with the hashtag of this week being win big, let's find out who will make the final. Question 1. George Clooney has got married in full-on Hollywood style. Yes, a man who has never been married got married and people went crazy. I've not read much on it, but there appeared to be some sort of boat brigade. So let's have other stories of lavish weddings and their ceremonies. Emma?
Well, I decided that I was going to go for the biggest, most expensive wedding I could find, because this couple wanted to hashtag win big.
Not the Stanley and Hill wedding, surely.
Well, obviously this will be the close second to the Stanley and Hill wedding. No one can compete with that. But yeah, the one I've got is Venetia Mittal and Amit Bhatia in 2005, which cost $60 million. And this was the wedding of a billionaire steel magnate and London banker. And the invitations were mailed out in silver boxes with plane tickets and rooms to a 5-star Paris hotel. They had a 16th century chateau in Versailles, built a temporary wooden castle, had Kylie Minogue there, and gift bags full of jewels.
I want one of those.
But Stanley's wedding was bigger.
Yeah, I think we have to raise a couple of these points with Chris. Where was Kylie at his wedding?
It's true.
Still, Ipswich beats Versailles, am I right?
Obs.
The Palace of Versailles versus the Asda at Ipswich.
Because Chris got married in Asda.
He got married just down the road from the Asda. The sat-nav took us to Asda.
Oh, I guess Versailles is just down the road from Tesco.
Chris, have you got a wedding that can top $60 million?
Chris got married in Waitrose.
I've got a wedding that beats it in dollars today, like after inflation, but didn't at the time because we're going back a couple of decades. I'm of course going back to Prince Charles and Princess Diana. We all got images in our head of just massive dress, etc. They had a massive cake as well. They had like 5 layers or something. So her dress was 25 feet long. There were 27 wedding cakes, apparently, but there was a massive one that was like 5 layers or 5 stories, and they made a second one just in case. They prepared it months in advance and made a second one just in case it spoiled or something. Or, like terrorists, like the IRA would try to eat their wedding cake in advance. But yeah, so in today's money, it's about $110 million, and I think this is theorized to be either one of the most expensive weddings on record anyway. Certainly it was more expensive than Kate and Will's. They shoveled out more dollar for Charles and Diana.
Okay, and Tash.
Well, it's funny. I actually thought about Kate and William's wedding. I just thought, well, for sort of our time, our era, just, to have the whole world watching a wedding. It's very similar to Diana and Charles in a way, but we actually watched it, and I remember I had to work on the day, and I was gutted because I really wanted to watch it on TV. And this is the coverage. It started from a ridiculous amount early in the morning. It was like 6:30 or 7 in the morning. They were covering it like right the way through to the whole day. And I just thought, oh God, I got to work. And I remember my boss at the time, when I worked in a restaurant, my boss at the time saying, no, we'll be busy. No one's going to want to watch the wedding. And I said, no, they will. Everyone will. Even if they're a royalist or not, everyone's going to be watching. I mean, all the girls anyway were going to be watching it to see what Kate was wearing. And I was right. We were completely dead the whole day. So we shut early, and I stormed it home. I had like a 25-minute walk home. I completely ran all the way home. I'd got my parents to record it, and I just sat and watched it. And I think that's probably, maybe it's not in terms of money, and I don't know all of how much it costs, but I just think, to have, this was the wedding of the decade, I think, for us all, and just everyone was in love with the royals and Kate and Will, and I loved it too.
Did anybody see the American film of Kate and Will's meeting? The one that it aired on Channel 5 over here.
Oh no, I didn't see it.
Wow,
no,
it was brilliant. Their idea of what St Andrew's Student Halls of Residence looks like is fantastic.
They really posh suites.
It was just like, it had the layout of no flat I've ever seen before. Question 2 now. Nicole Scherzinger will play Grisabella in the West End production of Cats. So as the former Pussycat doll becomes a cat, let's reboot the Pussycat Dolls and find someone to replace Nicole. Chris.
Okay, I'm going to go with Till Lindemann of Rammstein because I'm going to... yeah. Because I just feel that I want to take the Pussycat Dolls to its logical conclusion. Obviously, Rammstein have perfected the art of making songs about pussy. Because you've got a pussy, I have a dick, so what's the problem? Let's do it quick. So I feel that he could really bring the insertion of bratwurst into sauerkraut to the Pussycat Dolls. Yeah, that he could really that they would really then take on the world with Blitzkrieg mit dem Fleischgewehr. So that's fun. And yeah, that's my answer.
I think you managed to break Sue Perkins' record for most innuendos in a sentence.
They're all in the lyrics. They're all in the lyrics of Pussy.
Tash, who would you put into the Pussycat Dolls?
I have no idea. It'd probably... Subo! I'll put Susan Boyle in there, just to mix it up a little bit. Definitely. I think she'll fit right in, with all the little shakies, shaking her bum, everything like that. She'd love it. She'd be a lovely little Pussycat doll. The girls would love her. America would love her. I mean, America would love her anyway. She would work. That's it. Susan Boyle. Subo. And the Pussycat Dolls.
Extra points for enthusiasm. Emma.
I was tempted to say Elaine Page just because they should swap.
That'd be brilliant.
Part of me was tempted to say Christopher Cutting because the idea of him dancing around to Don't Cha just makes me really happy.
You know I can do that anytime.
When I come to Bristol, we're going clubbing and we're requesting that for Cutting.
Done.
Yeah. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me, guys?
Well.
Okay, question 3 now. New parody laws are to come into place in the UK, which will allow people to freely parody copyrighted material. Fantastic stuff if you write scripts about Doctor Who, Merlin and Robin Hood. But what is the greatest parody out there? Emma?
I had to do a lot of thinking about this. 2 of my favourite ones are probably the old comic relief Doctor Who one with Rowan Atkinson, which I really love. It was obviously before the reboot. It just took the mick out of so many of the ridiculous tropes. Not to mention the fact that we got to see what Richard E. Grant would have been like as the Doctor, which I think would have been amazing, along with many other guest Doctor Who's. And it was just hilarious. I loved it. Although I'd also quite like to add the French and Saunders Mamma Mia, because I just found it hilarious. It was brilliant. And there are so many things that I didn't even realise how ridiculous the original version of The Winner Takes It All was until I saw the parody version of it.
All the hands.
And the thing is, she does it perfectly. The way she's very, very good at mimicking the original. And it doesn't take much. It's just subtly making it more ridiculous, making you realise what the original was like.
I'm going to sing now. No! Speech! No, I shall sing! Speech! Buh! Buh-da-da.
Oh, Pierce Brosnan. Why did you do it?
When that came out, that CD was on all the time at Woolies. And we sold so many copies, but I loved it when it got to SOS because it was just so damn awful. Okay, Chris, you run a drama society?
well, Bunbury wasn't so much a parody of Oscar Wilde as a homage, if we're talking about greatest ever works. But no.
I like how you said Bunbury and then put it in the set and then gone greatest ever works.
Yeah,
really selling up that show.
Well, you know, I'm modest, obviously. A very modest sort of chap. No, I think I was trying to think of the sort of greatest parody because there are tons of works that have kind of parodic elements, but I think probably the greatest kind of proper parody is probably Gulliver's Travels, in terms of being a complete landmark for satire. Being a complete parody as opposed to just having kind of parodic bits. I would say Gulliver's Travels, yeah. I'd say Swift Gulliver's Travels. That's me being literary and boring and not talking about Doctor Who.
Okay, Tash, greatest parody. If you say Dr. Merlin Hood, you've pretty much got the show in the bag.
If I
should have said that.
Sorry? If I say what?
Dr. Merlin Hood.
Dr. Merlin Hood. Gosh, darn it, yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. You read my mind. I was actually going to say, I feel like I'm just walking into an exam having not prepared and have no idea because I don't know. So, oh my goodness. Oh, I don't think this is a parody though.
Just go for it.
Have you ever heard of oh, it's not. I don't think it would. Have you ever heard of the periodic table song?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a parody. That's not a parody, but I really enjoy it. Let's try and remember it. This was so we started uni, and within my first lecture, she said, to help you learn the periodic table, there is a song on YouTube. So we YouTubed it, and back in the day, I could sing it all, but now I can only remember a few. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen. And then that's it. So, don't know. Does that work? Can I take that as an answer? Cut that around, so you just got me singing. this thing.
Well, Tom Lehrer did do kind of parody stuff, so...
I'll take that. I think you just...
That was a rubbish answer.
You are becoming like the first rapping waffler.
I do enjoy a good old rap in it, boy. Yeah, man.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the first round. The scores are quite interesting. Tied on 9, it's Chris and Tash. And ahead on 13 with a very good third answer there, it's Emma.
Woo!
We are, of course, on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube, the 11 o'clock Waffle. If you're interested, Chris Stanley has made a geographical map of where people who have won the Waffle come from.
Woo!
It's like the Middle Earth. It's like the kind of Middle Earth map of the Waffle.
So we do need northern guests on the show. So if you're from the north and would like to be on, do tweet us at 11 o'clock Waffle. Hashtag big win.
Hashtag big win.
Question 4 now. All about that bass, No Trouble, has become the first song to make the UK Top 40 based on streaming alone. But what other records are there in the world of music? Chris?
Well, there are many records in the world of music, Mac. I have several in my car, and I've got a rack of records from the world of music. But sorry, that was an awful joke. No, the largest game of musical statues is the record that I have for you. And it was achieved by 1,079 participants in Finland, in Helsinki, in 2010. And there's something to do with children in here. It's the annual Child's Fair was the event which it took part in. So presumably that's 1,079 children playing one game of musical statues. Amazing. I want to do that. I want a new record. Let's do it in Bristol with 1,180 people.
Is it up there with Shrub's rendition of the Penguin Dance on Falmouth Moor that night?
Yeah, let's have more of that. Let's have a 1,080 strong penguin dance.
Okay, Emma.
I spent a while thinking about this. I think one of the ones that impresses me, but I was about to say that impresses me. I don't really want to say that Cher impresses me. She's a strange lady, but she's managed to get the most number ones in consecutive decades of a female artist. There are 1 or 2 male artists who also managed it, but 6 decades in a row she's managed. She keeps going. I'm starting to think she's maybe a robot.
How old is she now?
I don't know. I think in sort of 100 years' time she'll still be going and she'll still have the same face. It'll be made of rubber and latex and yeah, she'll still be going. I thought that was quite cool, but then I also found the most costume changes in a single take music video, which I thought was quite cool, which was by Etan and the Embassies, and a song called Everything Changes, where the singer dresses up as loads of different singers from which travel through the sort of evolution of music over the last sort of, I don't know, probably about 80 years or so. I thought that was quite cool because he managed something ridiculous. I think it's about 30 or 40 changes in one music video.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Tash, records in the world of music.
Well, seeing as we were getting a little bit Christmassy before we went on the air, and we are less than 3 months until Christmas, I am very excited. I love Christmas. I just got me thinking about Christmas songs, and then I thought about the original Band-Aid "Feed the World," that brilliant song. I love the original. I don't like the remake. I love old songs, but I'm going to say that because that was the first time that celebrities sort of created this massive phenomenon of raising money to give to the poor and, to feed the world, as it were. And they did. I've got some facts. They did sell over however many, 2 million copies, apparently it was, raised about $150 million. And I think that was, actually, don't quote me on this, but that was probably one of the first big steps for celebrities to take, to sort of say, yeah, here we go, look at us, listen to us, let's raise some money. And then now, we're all about ice bucket challenges and not wearing makeup for raising money. But this was the very first social media. I mean, did they have that in the 80s? Yeah, the news, spreading it around to everyone. Feed the world. Whoa. Let them know it's Christmas time. Yay.
I thought you were going to join in cutting there and make like the new version.
They know it's Christmas time.
Yeah!
Feed the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it. That's a new record in the world of music. Best ever.
You could almost be the new Sonny and Cher.
Oh my god! Amazing!
Of course, Chris, you're clearly Cher.
It's just because no one really knows how old I am, and I just and I'm just still alive, even though I should have died a long time ago.
Yeah, weren't you discussing before air you're like not eating anything at the minute?
It's not that I'm not eating anything, it's I don't eat very much. I'm not anorexic or a skeleton. But I am spooky, but I'm not a skeleton. I'm not a spooky, scary skeleton. I may send shivers down one spine, but I'm not a spooky, scary skeleton.
Question 5. It has been 10 years since Lost started, a show which is famed for having a, spoilers, awful payoff for its loyal fans, and yet one which people cannot help but go back to and re-watch. So what series that's been on in the 10 years since Lost aired should people go back and invest their time in? Chris?
Breaking Bad. Watch Breaking Bad. If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, watch that. I cannot think of a better TV drama than Breaking Bad. Is there one? Does a better TV drama than Breaking Bad exist? Because if so, someone, for the love of God, please tell me. Because, my God, like, I need something that amazing again. Everything about it is incredible. Like, obviously, I assume people are familiar with the concept because it's kind of so popular. It is a time investment though, because it's subtle and it's a slow burn. As far as dramas go, like it chooses the slow burn over the sort of quick flashy payoffs. But the tension is incredible. It never lets up.
Oh yeah, the tension's absolutely. You just sat there for like I can't remember what. There's a bit in it where it just drags out for about 10 minutes.
There are whole scenes where you're just there, like you're there kind of riveted in your seat, like, oh my god. It is about character, and it kind of stems from character. I think the concept is described as turning Mr. Chips into Scarface.
Definitely.
And it works. Like it works. He's the same man. That's an incredible performance. Is that he is still discernibly and clearly the same man, but he's changed. But he's gone from this sort of depressed, passive, kind of complete underdog, failure at life, like sort of chemistry teacher who with a disabled son and inoperable lung cancer, and he becomes like this sort of murderous, sociopathic, like alpha male, villainous drug lord, and it works. You know, it's such an incredible show. I really recommend Breaking Bad to anyone who hasn't seen it.
Fantastic stuff. Emma?
I'll be the first to admit that I'm absolutely terrible at following TV series. I'm absolutely downright awful at it. So it took me a long time to think about this because I'm just really bad at it. I mean, the current show that's probably the closest equivalent to Lost in being a game changer in TV is probably Game of Thrones. Just because of its huge following and the fact that a lot of people have no idea what twists are coming. I'm not saying it's similar to Lost, but it's a game changer in the way TV series are, in the same way Lost is. I'm saying this in the fact that I've been terrible at following it, but then I'm terrible at following everything, so the fact that I'm on series 2 is pretty impressive. There are a lot of other things that I've really enjoyed in the last 10 years. Life on Mars I really liked. At the moment I've got a soft spot for Sherlock at the moment. There are a lot of great series out there, just I'm not the best person to ask about them.
Okay, let's ask Tash then.
Oh my goodness, I don't know where to begin. Okay, I'm just going to pick one, which was my absolute favourite of all time, Spooks. Absolutely loved Spooks. It went on, I think it did actually have about 10 series, or near enough 10 series.
10 seasons, exactly.
Yeah, and I watched it. I was just an addict. I mean, they were so current. I think that was what was good about them. They were really current, and obviously they were spies, so it was really thrilling and exciting, and your heart was always in your mouth. Oh, and you just thought, no, come on, quick, be safe. And the fight, like the absolute finale, I was at uni, and I made everyone in my house sit and watch the final episode with me, and none of them could truly appreciate it because they hadn't been watching any of the previous series. And that final, oh my goodness, Ruth, no. I was sat on the floor crying, and no one understood, no one cared. They hadn't been following it, but it was, I've got the box sets. I just love it so much. I mean, have any of you watched Spooks?
I've watched all of them.
No. Oh my goodness, it's like
I've seen a couple of
spent.
Plus, nobody's
so
safe in it.
No, I think that was it, because you didn't know who they were going to kill. And the leading men as well, they had some real hunks who were the leaders in there. My favourite, Richard Armitage. Yeah. Oh my goodness, do you have a crush on him as well, Mark? Oh my goodness, he's just so delicious. And then he turned out to be a bad
shirt.
He was just, and when he spoke Russian as well, like I don't have a thing for Russians. I've never met a Russian, but he spoke Russian so well. I was, oh, you're so delicious.
And all those tattoos he had.
Yeah, but it was because he'd been through all that trauma. He'd been held hostage.
And his character as well.
You mean?
Because when you go back and watch series 1, Matthew McFadden's character gets the promotion because Lucas North's been captured.
Really?
So like 7 years before Richard Armitage turns up, Lucas North is mentioned.
Oh my goodness! I need to rewatch the whole lot now.
I know, that's so good.
I'm going to be watching it with wide eyes now.
Question 6 now, an article on Den of Geek this week. Hey, that rhymed. Looked back at some of the more bizarre promotional tie-ins for movies. So what is, for you, is the most wackiest piece of movie tie-in stuff around? Tash?
Well, I just had a quick look at it because nothing really sprung to mind, so I was having a quick look on the internet, and I came across, this has really amused me, and I wished it, well, maybe I'll post a picture, but I discovered a Daniel Craig ice lolly, and he's amazing. He's sculpted. You've got his head. It actually looks like him. He's got his six-pack with nice big pecs and lovely big arms, and yeah, and apparently it was created to celebrate National Ice Cream Week. There we go. And they said, oh my goodness, they wanted to find out which male celebrity British women most wanted to get their tongue around at the end of their stick. Yeah, so there we go. And then they made Daniel Craig. Apparently he's the most wanted man on an ice lolly stick.
Chris, has anyone ever made an ice lolly stick of you?
Not to my knowledge. People have made them for me, but none of me. No, I think that one's coming later in life, I think. No, I've okay, so my is my thing now. The Harry Potter films, the early ones, had a toy Nimbus 2000 broomstick. And fun little toy to get your kids. You know, they can whiz around pretending to be a wizard, all that sort of stuff. All that stuff that's, you know, that Harry Potter childhood fans like to do. Except that this broom vibrated. Yeah, so I don't have to go any further. You got it already. But yeah, so, parents began to wonder why they had sort of a bunch of little girls kind of fixated on the magical broomstick, kind of locked away in their bed.
Gosh.
12-year-old girls kind of finding that their broomstick has really unlocked a new magical realm for them. And, you know, I'm like looking at this kind of, it looks like you could conceivably get it up to your prostate as well. So maybe there was maybe there were some early developed boys, you know. I developed pretty late. I wouldn't know what it's like to be a 12-year-old boy going through puberty. I was pretty late on, but...
Emma.
I discovered that when the film Watchmen came out, that they were selling promotional condoms.
What?
And not only were they blue, like Dr. Manhattan, next to on them, they had written, "We're society's only protection,"
Oh, brilliant.
That's
which I think is just beautiful. But the most ridiculous one
Did they
I
come in Dr.
discovered,
Manhattan size?
Dr. Manhattan can choose, so you can cover all bases. The most ridiculous one I found was when the Street Fighter film came out, they made a game of the film. So they made the game of a film of a game.
Meta, that is.
Yeah.
That's the end of the... Everyone's been on that round, haven't they? I'm not confused.
Yes.
Yes, good.
Yes.
End
yes.
of the second round then, and the scores are as follows. 24 points. It's Chris Cutting.
Woo!
25 points it's Emma. And
Woo!
with a fantastic round there, it's Tash on 26.
Woo!
Normally we have a teaser question. However, this week I think a far better question is, what should Chris Cutting call his new house? There's already been some response on Facebook, hasn't there, Chris?
Yes, there has. Let's have a look, because it's yeah.
So what are the top 3 suggestions to call your house?
Okay, I'm going to say My Swamp, The Room, and of course the best one so far is La Cussing Linguist. It obviously has nothing to do with who the host of this radio show is in terms of my preferences. So yeah, those are they're all serious contenders. The other ones are like Guantanamo, Mein Kampf, and Lisa. And I just think it's wonderful that my new place is going to be in the sort of poshest, most genteel kind of area of Bristol.
Excellent stuff there, Chris. Okay, question 7 now. There have been protests in the streets of Hong Kong, and Hong Kong was handed over to China from Britain in 1997. This is what happens when we let Chris Stanley write the questions. So, what other memorable things occurred in 1997? Emma?
Well, one of the biggest things, if you're the Mirror or the Daily Mail, is that Diana died. That was a fairly big deal. I mean, when I was 7, I wasn't too excited about it, but that happened.
I don't think most people were excited about it.
I was 7, so my first reaction was someone has died. I think what excited me a lot more being 7 was that Harry Potter was first published. That was a much bigger deal to 7-year-old Emma.
You've done you can't just take all of the things.
Yeah, I know what I was going to say, Emma. Did it not seem to you when Diana died, she lived her life like a candle in the wind, never fading with the sunset, or when the rain set in?
No, not really.
So Harry Potter there, and Diana. Tash, 1997.
1997, yeah. Dolly the sheep was born.
Yeah, Dolly.
Dolly the sheep. Yep, she was a cloned sheep. That was something that was pretty exciting, I think, going back in the 90s. I think everyone was a bit like, whoa, what's gonna happen next? Dolly the sheep. Meh. That's what I thought. I was gonna see the thing is I was gonna say Diana as well. Because I just think, not for obviously an exciting thing, obviously, but it was just so big.
Okay, and let's go to Chris, which is kind of weird because you would have been 6 in 97, 5?
I would have turned 6 in 97. Yeah. No, I remember the Diana thing quite clearly. But I remember just wondering why on earth anyone cared, and then I remember feeling a mild sense of irritation at the kind of ongoing outpouring. I think even then I had a distaste for kind of mass hysteria. Or it could possibly have been one of the events that conditioned me to have a distaste for kind of mass hysteria and everyone kind of having a massive public outpouring of grief. But okay, since we've already done Diana, we've already done Harry Potter, I suppose Tony Blair and the New Labour victory in 97 is a significant event. And Hong Kong's already done in the question. Like, Hong Kong would have been my thing, but it's in the question, so...
that didn't stop Loz last week.
I would say out of the stuff that's left, and obviously we haven't seen a sheep army, but we did see a few armies thanks to Blair down the line. So yeah, I would say that Tony Blair getting him was a very significant event, especially since there are tons of things that New Labour have done that we've sort of forgotten about just because they're not just because they weren't as revolutionary as, I don't know, like Thatcher or something. Like it's there are tons of things that Blair has done that has changed Britain, and we've just kind of forgotten that they happened, or they just seem like kind of vague childhood events. So Mr. Tony Blair has a lot to answer for. So yeah, but me kind of growing up in my kind of atmosphere of virulent hatred. I can ascribe a large amount of that to Mr. Tony Blair and his 3 parliaments. So thank you, Tony Blair, for making me hate the system and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, thanks. That's my significant event of '97.
Wow, 97 and nobody mentioned Spice Girls.
We won Eurovision as well.
We won Eurovision?
Did we?
It was the last time we won Eurovision.
Who won it?
It's Katrina and the Waves.
Fantastic. Bonus points for Emma.
What?
Question 8 now. It has been 6 years since myself and most of our guests started university. I think it's just been 6 years since Emma and I, isn't it?
Yeah! Woo!
Wow. That makes us feel old.
Yeah, I'm
like,
depressed
for the
now.
rest of you, it's just half a decade. For us, it's over half a decade.
No, it was 6 years, I think, for me as well.
Really?
See?
What was yours, a 4-year course?
Join us in the oldies corner.
Yes, it was. So I'm an oldie.
Have a Werther's
I
original.
thought the young ones.
Oh, thanks. We best hurry up because it's almost bedtime.
Oh, I dropped a stitch in my knitting.
I'm just over here being completely infantile as always.
Oh, damn it, we've got to change Chris again.
My uni was 4 years ago.
Oh, God.
Oh no.
Shut up. For all of those freshers just starting, what should be their drink of choice? And let's just keep this short, guys. Emma.
Cider! Cheap, tasty, and all-round West Country awesomeness.
Okay, Tash.
Rosé. Can't drink the stuff now, but you can buy a bottle for nothing and you just down it before you go out, before you even pre-drink, just down a bottle of rosé and then that's it. Your night is made.
Okay, and Chris.
All of them you can get. You are at the age when you can take anything you throw at your body. Your body can take anything you throw at it. So, like my tolerance went down a bit when I'm still a tank, but it went down when I turned 21. So, freshers, before your liver turns 21 years old, or however long it will take you, drink everything you can get.
Okay, and that brings us now to the final round, and it's all quite close. Emma just narrowly ahead. So, Emma, you get to pick the running order for the final round.
Me, Chris, Tash.
Okie doke. So, our final round now, where our guests will present a headline, followed by a 20-second summary of the story. The other guests then have to guess whether the story is true or false, and points will be awarded accordingly. There's also bonus points on offer in order of which stories I find the more interesting. So, Emma, as you're going first, what's your headline and story?
The headline is Return to the Island where Prince Philip is worshipped as God. Yeah, basically there is a tiny island with a little village called Tanna where they've decided that Prince Philip is God when he visited there in the 50s, and he's now returning.
Okay. Chris.
Okay, this is a veterinary student who stitched "I love you" into dog skin to impress girlfriends.
Oh,
And this is a guy, this is a veterinary student who he basically stitched "I love you" into the skin of a dog, an unnamed dog, like an anonymous dog, like just one a stray. He got a dog, stitched "I love you" into its skin, and then he took pictures of it and posted it on Facebook.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay, it's another bonkers one there from Chris. And Tash.
My headline is Kids' Toy Haunts Family of 4. Basically, they didn't realise, but for every single night, whenever they all sat down in the lounge to they turned off the lights and they sort of watched TV or whatever, from behind them was just a really awful like like a horrible sort of ghostly noise like that just coming from behind them, and it was really freaking them out. And so like whenever they sort of turned on the lights and sort of looked around, I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And they were so scared to sleep that the children were sleeping in with the parents' room because it was really freaking them out. And anyway, they got someone in, and it turns out that this toy had a light sensor on it. And so obviously whenever the lights went off, it just thought that it was being played with. So it made the noise. And then when you turn the lights off, it's like, oh no, I've stopped being played with, so I'm going to be quiet now. And that was it. So they all felt really silly.
Okay, so quite a spread there. The Prince Philip god on a foreign island. The vet student who stitched "I love you" into a dog to impress his girlfriend, or the light-sensitive kids' toy haunting a family. Chris, what do you think's true or false there?
I think Emma's is true, and I think I'm going to go true for Tash's one as well.
Okay, Tash?
I think Emma's is true, but no, I don't. I don't believe the dog story. I just don't. It's just something to do with it. I just think it's too creepy. I don't think someone would do it, so I'm going to say false.
Okay, and Emma?
I think Tash is true, and I'm weighing up whether this Chris's one is the kind of thing he'd make up, and I think I'm going to say it's made up.
Okay, so you're going false.
False.
Okay, so Emma, was Prince Philip worshipped as a god?
Yes, he was, and still is, on a village of Tanna on a tiny island, on a little somewhere out on the ocean. Basically, he turned up one time, and he seemed to fulfill an ancient tale about how the son of a mountain spirit, a man with pale skin, would appear one day, and they decided that it was Prince Philip.
It's literally something like, didn't his portrait wash ashore or something? It's like, isn't something that ridiculous?
No, he went there for a visit, and they were like, this is the one. And so they sent over some portraits of him because they loved him so much, and they're like the most treasured possessions of the island.
It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, I was aware of that story. We wanted to freight Shrub. There was a picture of the islanders, and one of them looked like Shrub once, and we tried to freight him to have that as his profile pic.
Ah.
Didn't happen. No. He never left his laptop alone.
Okay, Chris, it's time to find out about the vet student and the dog.
The dog story is in fact true.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That's a complete twist. So 3 big points there to Chris.
Woo!
Okay, so the kid's toy haunting the family of 4. Tash, true
That
or
is
false?
false.
That's
sorry.
false.
That is false. I suppose, well, it's false in the sense that, no, there wasn't an article and I didn't haunt a family. True in the sense that this kind of happened to me at home with my little sister's toy Iron. And it really confused me. It didn't haunt me. I didn't think there was a ghost. But I turned out the light to go up to bed and just heard this shh. And I thought, what is that? And I turned the light on and it stopped. And I turned off and it started again. And I thought, who's taking the mick out of me here? And I thought it was another member of my family. And no, I just discovered this little iron on the floor. And I was like, oh, right, that's quite cool actually. But no, it wasn't a ghost or anything like that.
That's too spooky for me.
Okay, so that flicks everything on its head and brings us to the final scores. At the back on 34, it's Chris.
Wah, wah, wah.
Also on 34 points, it's Emma.
Then why am I at the back?
to try and create a bit of suspense.
Also at the back.
And also at the back, it's all right, you know. We might have lost in the middle, but we packed much back, Emma.
And with that brilliant final round there, Tash has 38 points and is this week's winner.
Whoa! Oh my gosh! Oh, thank you!
Success.
Oh wow!
Okay,
Hashtag win big.
Yeah. What did I say? Hashtag win big. Yeah.
Win big. Which
Hashtag
brings
win
us
big.
to some
Hashtag one big.
Okay, and with that win, that edges Tash into the final. 1 victory and an average score of 37 points. Joining her, so near and yet so far for Emma, she's on 34 points. Dan Scholes pips ahead 34.5 on average, with 2 appearances and 1 win. So Dan takes that 4th spot. So on our final, contesting for the title of Waffle Champion will be Chris Stanley, Lucy Ahmed, Natasha Wigmore, and Daniel Scholes.
Woo!
Nice lineup.
I think you'll agree it's been a very eventful show this week.
Indeed.
But I hope you've enjoyed listening to it, and please tune in for the final. Thank you to my guests, Chris Cutting,
Thank you.
Emma Preuss,
Thank you.
and our last-minute step-in and winner, Natasha Wigmore.
Woo! Thank you.
We shall be back next week. Have a nice time. See you later.
Run.
Bye.
Bye. Hashtag big win. Win big.
Win big.
Win big.
Win big.